Welcome back. If you just joined us, we've been looking at the reforms in the public service and how far has the federal government gone in implementing these reforms. And our guest on this episode of Question Time is Dr. Joe Abah, the Director General of Bureau of Public Service Reforms. Don't go away. Now, let's look at some of your reforms you've initiated so far. Tell us more about the integrated payroll and personal information system.
Well, the integrated payroll and personal information system, the IP system, has actually been one of the most successful reforms of government. It was, of course, initiated by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms about 7 years ago, and it has had a dramatic effect in improving the administration of the federal payroll. Its purpose is twofold. As the name suggests, it's a payroll system, but it's also a personnel management system. And so through it, you're supposed to be able to manage people's careers, you're supposed to be able to manage their development, their leave, their career advancement, their posting. All of those things are part of it, as well as the payroll, of course.
You said this initiative saved about over 100 billion naira in 6 years. Could you give an account of where those leakages came from?
Okay, what was happening before the IP system was put in place is that ministries, departments, and agencies were simply putting forward what they claimed to be their personnel profile and their nominal roles. Government had no way of checking whether Ministry of Education actually has 2,000 people or it's 1,500 or whatever. So we went with what the ministries gave us. And so if you now look at what the ministries gave us, say 2,000 staff versus physical verification, you see that in some cases, the physical verification will produce something like just half of what people were telling us before, because the physical verification includes biometric capture. It includes people bringing in their letters of appointment, all of their qualifications. And so this savings is the difference between what we were paying before based on unverified facts against the figures we're getting from the verified.
Now, you said you have an update of 65,000 ghost workers exposed so far in your performance audit. Could you name those ministries where this ghost workers came from?
It's actually exposed about 65,000 ghost workers so far, and that is ongoing. And that is from all areas. He exposed about 40,000 ghost workers in the first month. And that was from the 6 pilot ministries where this was implemented. I believe those were information, national planning at the time, works. There were about 6 of them at that time. But the complete figures in terms of financial savings and ghost workers is actually from across the board. Ministries, agencies, departments, parastatals. It's from across.
Was there any punitive measures to the defaulting agencies or ministries in question?
Well, some of them, for instance, we recently drew a link between IPs and the bank verification numbers, because what you found is that in some cases, people who actually exist are collecting multiple salaries through collusion with people administering the system. And those files are currently with EFCC as we speak.
Now let's look at the second mandate of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, which is tackling corruption in the public service. It's believed that a large chunk of these corrupt practices is being linked to the procurement system. So what are you doing to change the system, to tighten it up in such a way that it will be very unattractive to corrupt practice?
That's a tall order, Benga, because in every single system in the world, there are criminals trying to outsmart the payroll system, the procurement system, every single system that government puts into place. But let's put things in perspective. Before we put in place the due process system and the Bureau of Public Procurement, 60 kobo out of every 1 naira was going to corrupt practices. So for every 10 naira you procure, 6 naira was going to corrupt practices. In the 7 years or so that we've had the Public Procurement Act in place, government has saved in the region of 600 billion that would ordinarily have gone into corrupt practices. We're constantly tightening the system. Just recently, the Bureau of Public Procurement issued reduced thresholds for procurement adverts. So before now, you had to go above, once you go above a certain threshold, you have to advertise publicly. What people do, of course, is sometimes split the contracts and make sure that they are under the threshold.
Let me get this clear. Apart from initiating reforms, who does the monitoring and implementation of these reforms?
Our role is about 5 key areas. We initiate reforms, like we've done with the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System. We communicate reforms to overcome negative perception and actually to inform the public and hold the public sector to account. We monitor, we evaluate, and so we are able to tell you how things are going. And I think for the first time last year, we published an evaluation of the last 15 years of reforms. What is working, what is not working, and what needs to change.
What is the size of Nigeria's public service?
The civil service of the Federation, as at November 2015, when we last checked, was 89,511 people. That is the federal civil service. That's people that work in ministries that were engaged by the Federal Civil Service Commission. The size of the federal public service, we estimate 89,511. Okay. The size of the public service, which is the ministries, the departments, the agencies, the parastatals, the army, police, we estimate to be about 1.9 million people. And I say we estimate to be because IPs doesn't yet cover everybody. The president has directed that IPs should cover all of the federal public service as soon as possible, and we're working very hard on that. But we estimate it to be about 1.9 million people. We estimate that the public service of Nigeria as a whole, federal, state, and local government, is about 4 million people. Now, compare that to the UK civil service. Now, the UK civil service at central government is 420,000. That is 4 times the size of the Nigerian civil service. The UK public service is 5.2 million. That is 5.2 million versus 4 million we have in Nigeria. But here is the issue. Just give me a minute.
But the UK system you're talking about is a functioning system.
No, let me just explain that. So they have a population of 60 million. We have a population of 175 million. But here is the issue. Their GDP is 6 times that of Nigeria. And that is why the issue is one of productivity, not one of absolute numbers. Can the numbers we have deliver greater productivity? That is the issue we must face. And we must find a way to make sure that that is the case. If we focus on absolute numbers, we will find that we can cut so much that we are no longer able to provide the checks and balances needed for a functional government.
And from your assessment, what should be the optimal structure of the public service in Nigeria?
I think the optimal structure should be one that delivers high-level growth and delivers high GDP. That should be the optimal structure. I think it would be lazy and irresponsible to pick a number out of the air.
You may also join in this conversation by sending us your comment on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Coming up on Question Time. What happens to the Oronsaye report on public service reforms? Find out from the Director General, Bureau of Public Service Reforms after the break.